welcome to day 10 of Living Your Happier Life. You are 1/3 of the way there, so congratulations. And I want to start today with a little experiment. Put down anything that you might have in your hand right now, and take your index finger and point it towards yourself. Great. Now notice, where are you pointing? Well, if you are like 95% of the people I have asked to do this, you are pointing right here to your heart. I have never found anybody point to their little toe or to their elbow when I've asked, who are you? Where are you? Because as human beings, we instinctively feel that the heart is the essence of who we are. It's not our little toe. Every culture, every religion, every wisdom tradition in the world places the heart at the center of life. Throughout all of time, it's been said that the heart is the seat of the soul. It is our essence, and it's truly central to our happiness because love, which is the energy of the heart, is a big key to happiness. And that's why we are going to be that's why the heart is the second pillar in your inner home for happiness. So before we get into what I want to share with you about the heart and happiness, let's connect in with our hearts right now with a beautiful meditation that is called Heaven and Earth Meet in the Heart. And I've adapted this from a process that I learned from one of my fabulous, beloved teachers, Tiziana della Rovere, her work centers on the union of the inner masculine and the inner feminine. So let's get comfortable and let's close our eyes. And take some nice deep breaths into and out of your heart. And now I'd like you to connect in to the center of the earth, the energy in the center of the earth. We've done that before, but today just put your attention on the energy of in the center of the earth. They're like a liquid, lava-like substance. And the earth is the divine feminine. We call her Mother Earth. I want you to imagine the energy of Mother Earth flowing up through the earth. It's this liquid lava-like substance, and it flows up through your feet and up through your legs and through your hips, through your lower back, your abdomen, and it flows up to your heart. And it settles into your heart. And this is the energy of the divine feminine, Mother Earth, nourishing and nurturing. And it lands in your heart. Just feel it fill up your heart space with loving, nourishing energy. And now if you would put your attention high, high above you, as high into the sky as you can imagine. This is Father Sky, the energy of the divine masculine. And imagine that there's a bright light, a light like the sun, pouring down from high above you. And it pours down and enters through the top of your head, your crown chakra. And it fills your head with light, the light of the divine masculine. It fills up your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your chest and upper back, and it settles into your heart. And this beautiful, brilliant light, the divine masculine, fills your heart. Now you have the energy of Mother Earth, the divine feminine, and Father Sky, the divine masculine. You have them meeting in the heart. And imagine that these two energies swirl together and form a beautiful golden sphere of love. And this beautiful golden sphere of love fills up your entire heart. And now imagine that that golden sphere of light and love expands and fills up your entire body. And now you're sitting in the energy of the divine masculine and the divine feminine meeting in your heart. And you're sitting in the energy of golden love. And take a few deep breaths in and out of your heart. And bring your attention back to the room where you're sitting. And you can stretch out your hands, your legs. And when you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Yum. Good? Well, that is your heart's energy, and it's where the juice in our life comes from. And when that love juice is flowing, we feel happy, we feel great. And when it isn't flowing, we feel unhappy. We cannot feel happy when our hearts are not feeling open and flowing in love. It's critical for our happiness to keep this juice flowing. And I know this all too well from my own life. There have been times in my life where that heart juice was not flowing. I actually had deep heart pain. It was on and off, this stabbing, kind of debilitating pain in my heart. And it began around about 30 years ago. And it was right after I had ended a relationship with a man that I loved. His name is Bob. That's his real name. He knows I tell this story, so it's okay. And Bob and I we were in love, we really were, but I knew that Bob wasn't the one. I knew that he wasn't the person I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with. And so we broke up, not because there was anything wrong with our relationship, but we broke up because he wasn't the one, and I knew the idea that, nature abhors a vacuum, and I should make space for the one to show up. But it was really still a good relationship. Unfortunately, 2 weeks after, well, I won't say unfortunately, but 2 weeks after we broke up, Bob started dating someone, and she was a good friend of mine. Her name is Holly. And I didn't want Bob, but I didn't want Bob to be dating anybody else either. And oh my God, my heart just went, it was as though someone stabbed me, even though they did not do anything wrong. And we were living in a small town, and Holly lived around the corner from me. And I used to have to drive all the way out of my way to find another way so I wouldn't drive by her house and see Bob's car parked outside of her house. And, it was just devastating. It was way beyond what I should have felt, but it was just like, oh, I felt betrayed even though I wasn't. I felt awful. I felt just heart pain that sometimes I thought that I was having a heart attack. And it was really, really hard for me. And so I know what it's like to live with a heart that's heavy, both physically and emotionally. And I'm going to tell the ending to the story in tomorrow's session. But for now, I'm just going to say that it was only when I began practicing certain happiness habits to open the heart and get my heart juices flowing again that my pain diminished. Here's the deal about this. We are beings of love. When we come into this world, we only know how to give and receive love. But as time goes on, we slowly form a protective barrier around our hearts. And, it's for good reason. We don't want to get hurt. We have things happen and we protect ourselves. So with each hurt, we put up another wall. And pretty soon, that wall becomes pretty thick. And it's really hard to hear what our hearts have to say. And we end up relying on our brain to do all the work. We live in our heads and we can't hear our hearts, or we're scared to listen to our hearts. And that often can end up, we end up feeling tired and frustrated and unhappy because we're not living from our hearts. And I will tell you that the interviews that I did with the happiest people, I saw that happy people live with an open heart. And what does that mean? It means that they focus on gratitude. It means that they easily forgive. It means that they're kind, that they're loving. It means that even though they might experience fear and pain and disappointment like everybody, they simply have different habits that allow them to keep their hearts consistently open so that they can really lead from that energy. Now, I want to tell you about some work from a group of researchers that I've followed for many years. It's the Institute of HeartMath, and they are among the world's leading researchers on the heart and happiness. And they've actually developed a monitor that can physically measure the energy around the heart. And what they found is that our hearts have an electromagnetic field that goes around our bodies 8 to 10 feet. And that's a pretty big, and that's not just some, that's not some ooga booga stuff. That's actually, it's called an electromagnometer or something like that, where they can tell the energy coming out of your heart 8 to 10 feet. We are a big power source. Have you ever been in a really crowded room and you could feel those people in the room who had an open heart? You can feel it, it's palpable. And the Institute of HeartMath researchers have also found that our hearts reflect how we're feeling by displaying different heart rhythm patterns depending on our different emotional states. So for example, when you're feeling frustrated or angry or upset, your heart rhythms become very jagged and erratic. It's called heart rhythm incoherence. And being in heart rhythm incoherence has some damaging effects on the body. Now, on the other hand, when you are feeling love and gratitude and happiness, your heart rhythm patterns are very smooth and regular and even, and they call this heart rhythm coherence. And it creates a lot more balance and alignment between your heart and your mind. And when you're in heart rhythm coherence, this is when all kinds of good things happen also in your body. You've got good hormones, your blood pressure becomes normalized, your immune system becomes stronger. In fact, there's research that they've done at HeartMath that shows that when you're feeling angry or frustrated for just 5 minutes, it can weaken your immune system for up to 6 hours. But when you're feeling love and gratitude, then it can strengthen, for just 5 minutes, it can strengthen your immune system for 6 hours. So even just a few minutes of being in anger has a long-term effect, or a few minutes of being in love. So imagine what happens when people spend their lives living in anger and resentment with hearts shut down. It really affects our bodies. And imagine also what it's like to be living in a state of greater and greater love. And that's what we're going to talk about for the next 4 days. So I want you to think about your own experience for a minute. At the fundamental level, all of your emotions can fall into one of two categories. They can either fall into love or fear. It's been said that anger and sadness and all are basically a form of fear. But love is the most powerful energy and vibration on the planet. And we've got variations of love: our joy, gratitude, compassion, appreciation. And when you're in heart rhythm coherence, basically you are in a state of love. There's a researcher from Harvard named Dr. Eva Selhub that has termed the phrase the love response. And when you're in the love response, you have different brain activity, different heart rhythms, and different biochemistry. And it's in contrast to when we're in the stress response. When we're in the stress response, we have different brain chemicals, different body biochemicals, and different heart rhythms. And so what I want to show you now is I want to show you how to move from the stress response into heart rhythm coherence, or the love response. And this is a very simple practice that we're going to do that we actually did in the very first session together, but I'm going to break it down in a greater way for us. And it's called the inner ease technique. And this is a technique that I absolutely love doing. And so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to sit comfortably. And once again, to close your eyes. By the way, you can do this with your eyes open, but I find that when I do it with my eyes closed, especially in the beginning, it goes into a very deeper level. So here's what we do. With the eyes closed, the very first step that you're going to do is called heart focus. And what you want to do is, I like to put my hand up to my heart to put my energy onto my heart, my focus onto my heart. So if you would just put your hand on your heart, and your hand on your heart starts the flow of a chemical called oxytocin. And oxytocin is dubbed the love hormone because it's what we have more of when we're bonded or connected with each other. So women who are breastfeeding have a lot of oxytocin. When we're making love, we have a lot of oxytocin. But just you sitting there with your hand on your heart right now is stimulating the oxytocin, the happy chemical, one of the happy chemicals in your body right now. So that's the first step. The second step is called heart breathing. So I'd like you to imagine that you're breathing in and out through the center of your heart. So each in-breath, you're breathing into your heart, and each exhale, you're breathing out of your heart. And you can either picture that or you can feel that, whichever works best for you. On the in-breath, breathing into the heart. On the out-breath, breathing out of the heart. And you may already be noticing that you are feeling a different shift. Now the third and last step is called heart feeling. And as you continue breathing in and out through the center of your heart, I want you to remember a time when you felt great love. Or you could remember a person or a situation where you just feel so much love. It could be a beloved, it could be a four-legged. Just bring to mind something, bring to heart something that reminds you of great love. And as you're doing that, continue to breathe in and out through your heart. And you can, some people like to actually breathe in the words love, ease, and compassion. So you could breathe in the words love, ease, and compassion. And your exhale, you're just exhaling normally, but every time you inhale, breathe in love, ease, and compassion. Again, either remembering a time when you felt that, or just saying the words love, ease, and compassion will have that effect. One more time on the inhale, breathing in love, ease, and compassion. And on the next exhale, you can slowly move your hand away. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. All right. Now that process took maybe 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. Simple process. Notice how you feel different in your body right now. Some people, maybe you feel a warmth in your heart. Maybe you feel a little more centered or balanced or calm, or maybe you feel tingling in your hands and feet. All of these are signs that you've gone into the love response. And that's as simple as it is. Now, here's the thing about this. Doing it once is a nice experience. It's not going to make a huge difference in your life. But here's what will make a difference in your life. If you do this 2 to 3 times a day for the next week or so, you will start to habituate the love response. It will become more and more your default setting. I mean, I've done this thousands of times. And now all I actually have to do is put my hand up to my heart, and right away I go into that love response, just because it's been a matter of habit. Now, here's the cool thing about this. I'm going to ask you to do it 2 or 3 times a day for the next week. But you can do this with your eyes open. I do this when I'm standing in line at the grocery store. I do this when I'm sitting on the phone talking to somebody. You know, I do sometimes do this when I'm just feeling like I'm crazy busy and I need to just get centered. I'll just do this technique. You can do it for just 1 minute, and it makes a huge difference. It shifts your energy back into your heart, where your heart can relax and open. Nice. So now I'm going to end our time together today with a quote by the wonderful Helen Keller, who very wisely said, "The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart." May your day be filled with heart today, and I look forward to talking with you tomorrow about more wonderful heart tips.